President Trump hammering Democrats with a stern midterm message.
Come Election Day, Americans will remember Kavanaugh, and they will remember all sorts of other things because that was a shameful act. This will be an election of Kavanaugh, the caravan, law and order, and common sense. But the choice could not be more clear. Democrats produce mobs. Republicans produce jobs. I want to give a victory speech on the evening of Election Day, which is coming up very quickly. A vote for Morrissey is a vote for me. A vote for Marcia is really a vote for me. And a vote for Cindy is a vote for me. And a vote for Steve is a vote for me. Remember this, a vote for David is a vote for me and our agenda to make America great again. I'm not on the ballot, but in a certain way, I'm on the ballot, so please go out and vote.
Democrats, however, don't seem to be able to get on the same page. For example, Texas Senate hopeful Beto O'Rourke is doubling down on impeaching Trump.
I would liken impeachment to an indictment. There is enough there to proceed with the trial for a full vetting of the facts and to make the best informed decision in the interests of this country and our future.
Senator Spartacus, Cory Booker, is making this bizarre claim that Canada is more American than America.
Every country we are competing with is driving down the cost of college. Germany, it costs between 0 and 4% of median income to go to college. Canada, I can't stand how they're out-Americaning us in Canada. Trudeau, give me a break. Costs about 6 to 7% median income to go to college. What does it cost in America? 52% of median income. And why are other nations out-Americaning us?
And then there's Nancy Pelosi, explaining why she doesn't really care if socialist policies hurt Americans.
I think that we owe the American people to be there for them, for their financial security, respecting the dignity and worth of every person in our country. And if there's some collateral damage for some others who do not share our view, well, so be it, but it shouldn't be our original purpose.
All right, Dana, a smorgasbord of Democrats trying to grasp at anything to get a message before the election.
Two of those, Cory Booker and Beto O'Rourke, are really running for 2020.
Right.
Nancy Pelosi is probably the most message disciplined out of all of them, and she's the one who's saying, we're not going to do impeachment. Like, everybody's like, stop that. And Beto O'Rourke is actually, he's saying that an indictment and impeachment are the same thing, which is just legally not true, and he should know that if he's running for Senate. I do think that if he ends up losing in Texas, you will see him on all of the shows for the next week where the host will beg him to run in 2020. And President Trump should want that to happen because that is not a strong message. Cory Booker, where is he giving that speech? He's in South Carolina.
Oh.
Is he in South Carolina because he's helping congressional Democrats who are really wanting to, or challengers to Republicans because they really want to win? And that's not happening in South Carolina. Unlike Lindsey Graham, for example, he's going out on a 12-state tour after Kavanaugh, so he can do all of those things. President Trump said his closing argument is going to be Kavanaugh, the caravan, law and order, and common sense. Now, I think that saying that closing argument 2.5 weeks until the election in this news cycle is a little risky because by Saturday we could have a new closing argument because if you think about it, Kavanaugh was just 2 weeks ago. But the Democrats, they're bailing out of 3 important races today. Down in Texas 23rd, that's Will Hurd's seat. That was a district that Hillary Clinton won, but now he's pulling ahead, so the Democrats are going to take money out of that, try to put it somewhere else. That's happened also in Nebraska 2 and Minnesota 8. So places where the Democrats were thinking they could have pickups, those are now out of reach for them. Possibly, of course, it depends on turnout, but if they're not going to put money in, that shows something. The Democrats' closing message is going to be this: healthcare, specifically pre-existing conditions, which we could talk about more if you wanted. And if you see their ads, they're starting to say, check on President Trump. They want to you vote for a check on President Trump. So if you're a challenger to a Republican who's already in Congress, the ad would say, Jesse Waters votes with President Trump 98% of the time. You don't want that, do you? And that's how they're trying to motivate the base. Republicans out there...
Just 98%, Dana?
Yeah, well, you hedge a little. You hedge a little on a couple of things just to, keep it interesting. I think that Republicans, if you see their ads, it's immigration and support for President Trump. So this idea that this is not about President Trump, it just really is. He should embrace it. He's basically out on the campaign trail all weekend. And I think that the Republicans, if they can keep focused, a lot of the races that Democrats thought they would be able to win will be out of their reach.
What do you think about the midterms, Greg?
I try not to think about them that much. I got other stuff going on.
Because it's your job.
I got a weekend coming up, gonna have some fun. The great thing about when you watch the rally, you know what Trump's message is. It's really simple.
Yeah.
It's national security, crime and borders. It's law and order. It's really hard to find out what the Democrats are for. You only know what they're against. Him, and they're also against being out of power. So that leads you into the arena of what Nancy Pelosi said, which was particularly loathsome, that collateral damage is acceptable. And we know this. We know that the end justifies the means. By any means possible, they need their power. So you saw that with Kavanaugh. You know, his family, collateral damage, right? If you look at what's happening now with the caravan, the collateral damage are those people who may suffer grave injury trying to cross a river or being sexually abused, but they want that spectacle, right? They want that. So that's collateral damage. They want to raise taxes and increase regulation. That hurts businesses, collateral damage. We go back all the way to Obamacare, right? Collateral damage. You lost your doctor. Your rates went up. But that was collateral damage because the idea of government running healthcare was such a big idea, it didn't matter if you lost your doctor. So their message, it's not about ideas. It's not about progress. It's about power by any means necessary. And when you have that ideology, that means collateral damage is not just acceptable. It's practically the only thing you have. They're not Democrats. They're damage-crats.
Oh, wow. Juan, I'll let you respond to that.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's to me, the shocking point is that Republicans don't have a message right now. So the president yesterday comes out and says the message is going to be Kavanaugh and Caravan. He could have thrown in there Kaepernick and Kanye. I mean, he could just gone full rapper on
3Ks, 4Ks?
Yeah, because he is right now struggling with the absence of a message. And you look at the advertising that's being put on the air, everybody thought it was going to be all about tax cuts for the Republicans. They were going to say, we delivered on a tax cut for the forgotten man. What you see is that Republicans are not running commercials about tax cuts because they're not having any traction with the voters. So that means that you go back to red meat, you go back to the most kind of culture war issues you can find. And for Trump, you know, his #1 hit on the road has always been immigration, build a wall, go after him. And that's what he's trying to do. So he's trying to get his base revved up for the midterms with these kind of red meat issues. But it's so far that the big absence is that Republicans don't have a strong message when they thought they were going to have a message. And I tell you, even on the immigration issue, at the White House, they're having big fights between John Bolton and John Kelly, the chief of staff, over why is it, despite all that the president has done and all of his rhetoric, we've seen a spike in terms of people coming and crossing. And so they can't figure out what the right policy would be at the White House. But they want to say it's the Democrats. This is the most incredible thing. Trump says it's the Democrats who are paying to have the caravan come, Jesse. This is ridiculous, absurd, but I guess some people might be suckers out there and buy that kind of foolishness.
Well, I mean, people are going down there from America to help this caravan come north. That's a fact. It's been reported in an article, which I'll raise to you in the next segment. And also, just before we get to Kennedy, I want to address you say about the tax cuts. Greg brought it up. You don't have to say tax cuts. When he says jobs, when he says the economy, when he says GDP, that's under the umbrella of everything he's done economically.
Yes,
and that's the message that's getting across.
Does that include drive up the deficit 17% in 1 year?
No, we're not running on the deficit.
Laughable. A Democrat talking about deficit.
No, what's laughable is a Republican saying,
incredible.
deficits don't matter because it's not a Democrat in the White House. Oh, what hypocrisy.
I think the only deficit is the ideas coming from the left. Go ahead.
No, but Juan brings up a really good point, and the problem is, as an independent voter and a woman who doesn't fit neatly into any category or box, I look at freedom-killing deficit spending, and it is atrocious from both parties. And they're so similar in that regard because it really is. This is the thing that is going to hamstring generations and really curtail economic mobility, which is critical for things like hiring new employees and going out and spending money. And when you talk about consumer optimism, which has been one of the big drivers for the economy and for the stock market, that is completely stifled when we finally get the bill for this outrageous money that we're spending on everything. And knowing Paul Ryan came into power as this wonky spending, you know, he was a person who neutralized spending and talked about cutting costs. And the debt is now $21 trillion. When Nancy Pelosi goes out, and when she is the mouthpiece for this party, and when she talks about the House is going to once again rest in Democrat hands, that riles up Republicans more than anything, and independents, because she's not a likable person. She's not only unlikable, she's a person who doesn't have a message. And you can joke that Republicans don't have a message, and you may not agree with it, but something as simple as jobs, not mobs, that resonates with people because they would much rather have jobs and money for their kids than run up against a wall of protesters who are going to call them names and spit on them and stop their car and vandalize nice cities.
Can I add something about Cory Booker? Because we kind of skipped over it. He said that Canada is more American. Is he aware that they don't have a First Amendment? I think he should go back and look it up because their freedom of speech in Canada is not absolute. Their government can pass laws that they feel are reasonable to limit your speech. So he should probably take that.
True dat.
Very good.
If Spartacus wants to run on Canada first, let him.
So, you know what,
we got to go to commercial.
I just wanted to say, I agree with you. Pelosi is not popular, especially with Republicans. They can use her in the ads. But what about Mitch McConnell saying, oh, yeah, if the Republicans retain control, we're going to go after Social Security. You think that's a helpful message for Republicans?
Yes.
Never speak ill of Cocaine Mitch. We love him.
So you get the feeling there that a vote for those candidates are a vote for him. President Trump making it clear the midterm elections are, in his view, a referendum on his presidency, which in truth is how midterms kind of work. We are just 22 days away. His popularity numbers appear to be moving slightly. Are any other numbers on the move? Who can we ask about that kind of thing? How about our national political correspondent, Steve Kornacki, who's at the big board with us tonight? Steve.
Brian, yeah, and getting some mixed and confusing signals, I think, a little bit when it comes to the state of the midterms, basically 3 weeks out. You mentioned the president's approval rating. Here's Gallup with their latest check-in. They have him at 44%. Now, remember, all year we've been saying that basically if Trump, the closer he can be to the mid-40s, to 45, or ideally for Republicans higher than that, the better chance Republicans are going to have of holding the House. So here's Gallup with his best number for them in a while, 44%. Not the only poll that's been showing an uptick. If you average together every Trump approval rating poll out there right now, he's at 43.5%. And yes, that is a jump of about 2.5 points just in the last couple weeks. Again, that's significant. Low 40s, Democrats like their chances. Mid 40s, Republicans start to like their chances. It can make a big difference. Numbers, though, have been all over the place, right? The Senate has looked like it's trending to the Republicans. The generic ballot for the House has looked strong for Democrats lately. We now throw in the variable of Trump's approval rating. One possibility here, we're getting a lot of polls from different House races. One possibility is there's almost two different tracks developing here. And let me show you what I mean. Two different types of congressional district that are competitive here. Here's one of them. This is what we talk about all the time, the suburbs. This is suburban Philadelphia, Bucks County, a little bit of Montgomery County. Republican incumbent here. Hillary Clinton carried this district in 2016. And look, this is a poll just in the last couple days. The Democratic challenger up by 7 points. It could be that the Democratic energy, maybe post Kavanaugh, maybe there's a burst for Democrats here, a boost for Democrats, but this is just what Democrats want to be seeing right here. But we say the numbers are complicated. Take a look at the other kind of district. This is a Democratic-held district right now. Minnesota's 8th. This is the Iron Range. Donald Trump carried this district in 2016. It went from Obama to Trump. Democrats hold the seat in the House right now, but look at this. Republicans running 15 points ahead here. This would be a Republican gain. So it's possible. It's a complicated House picture here. Maybe it is that in these suburban areas, Republican seats, districts that Clinton won in 16, Democrats may be doing even better now than they were a week ago, but maybe that Trump base in rural parts of the country could be shoring up too. It presents a more complicated and I think at this point muddled picture, Brian, of where the battle for the House stands. Democrats have the advantage right now, but that Republican support could be shoring up a little bit right now.